Hi everyone. I'm here to continue our conversation about the two different equations for lines, which would be point-slope form, again that's this one, and slope-intercept form, which is this one over here. I'm use the same examples from the last video, but instead of writing the equation this time, I want to go ahead and just remind us how to graph them. Okay, quick recap of slope-intercept form here. Y equals mx plus b, where the m is your slope. Remember, that's your rise over run, and your b is your y-intercept. Okay, so first thing you want to do when you graph a line is you want to just graph a point, and then the slope tells you how to move from that point. So the y-intercept is a point. It's just a specific point. So we're going to start there, and then the slope is how we move from that point. Now, the special point of the y-intercept is the one that's on the y-axis. So the y-intercept is where you're going to cross the y-axis, and the y-axis is the vertical axis. So we're going to start on the y-axis. The y-intercept is -2, so that's down 2 on the y-axis. And our slope tells us how to move from there. So slope, again, is rise over run. So we're going to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, run 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you have at least 2 lines, you can connect them, or at least 2 points, you can connect them to make a line, or you can keep going and get a more accurate sketch. 1, 2, 3, over 4. And you could keep going. You can go in both directions. 1, 2, 3, over 4. You have enough points, but the more you have, the straighter your line may be. Okay, and again, I had a positive 3/4 as my slope, which I forgot to mention. So in the positive direction, right? If you read it like a book, left to right, this line is going up. It's increasing. That's why it is positive slope. Or you can go in the positive direction 3, positive direction 4. So that should be a review. What I really want to talk about is how you graph when you have point slope form. So as a reminder, when you have point slope form, you have a slope, which in this case was -7, and you have a point, which was for -5. And you're going to graph this line the exact same way you graph from slope-intercept form, right? We started with a point and then we moved from there. The only difference is your point is not necessarily going to be right on the y-axis. You're going to have any point. So at this case, we're going to start at our point is 4, -5, which again in this equation you get from this and this. But once more, okay, because the equation is y minus your y coordinate, it looks like this is a +5, but this was actually y minus -5, which gave you the +5. So the y coordinate of that point is -5, even though it looks like +5. The x coordinate is actually +4, even though it looks like -4. So just keep that in mind as you graph. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plot my point as 4 on the x and -5 on the y. So again, you always start by plotting a point, whether it's in point slope or slope intercept. And then your slope is going to tell you how you move from there. So in this case, our slope is -7. And again, slope is rise over run, which is easier to see when it's a fraction. So if it's not, just remember that -7 is the same as 7 divided by 1, because 7 divided by 1 is just 7. So those are equivalent. Okay, so I have this point in my graph, and the slope tells me how to move from that point, whether it's a y-intercept or 4, -5. So I'm going to rise 7, run 1. But remember, our slope is not just 7, it's actually -7. So if we want a negative slope, it's got to be decreasing. So when you read it like a book, left to right, it's got to be going down, like so. Okay, so there's a couple different ways you can do this, but in one direction you have to go negative. So I could go up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I can go in the negative direction 1. Right, this would make it decreasing. You can also go down 7 to go in the negative direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then go over 1 in the positive direction. So that would still be a negative slope, it'd still be decreasing. But you just want to make sure your line, wow, that was really bad, connect the dots, but you get the idea. You really just want to make sure that as you read like a book, left to right, it's going down, it's decreasing, however you want to look at that. Make sure you're going in the negative direction for that particular slope. Okay, so it's really not that much different than graphing in slope-intercept form when you have point slope. You just have to identify the point that's not necessarily on the y-axis. Cool. So same problems from the video. I'm going to quickly go through just to give you a couple more examples, and then we will call it a day. So this one is in y equals mx plus b. So first you plot your b is the number not attached to the x is -1. Your slope is positive, so it's got to be increasing, going up this way, this direction. And your rise is 9, run is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, run 2. Okay. So again, you start with some point, whether it's a y-intercept or another random point. Your slope is how you move from there. Rise over run. It's not so bad, is it? Okay, and I want to do one more point slope example. Okay, so remember from this problem, we had to calculate the slope, which we got 2/5. Okay, and then you could choose either point. You can either plot 3, 10, or -2, 8, and you should get the same answer. Okay, and I'm going to prove that to you right now. So the one I have in this equation is x is -2. Remember, it's attached to the x, but it's kind of like the opposite of what you think it is because of subtraction signs in the formula. And whatever's attached to the y is the y coordinate. It looks like -8, but remember, it's actually +8. So I'm going to plot -2, 8. So we go -2 on the x, up 8 on the y. Okay. And then your slope is 2/5, so you're going to rise 2, 1, 2, run 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And I'm going to do that again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to get a picture of the line. And again, I went in the positive direction. It's increasing. It's going up. If you read it like a book, from left to right, we're going up. Okay, so I plotted -2, 8 is my point, and then I used my slope to move. But remember that this point also made up the line, and look what I have here. If you look at the coordinates, this x is 3, the y is 10. Okay, so that point 3, 10 is also on the line, which makes sense, because it said you want to graph the line through those points. Okay, so you really could have also started with this point and then done your rise and run up 2 over 5, down 2 over 5 to go this way, and you would have got the exact same result. That's why you can use either point when you write the equation. So I just wanted to point that out as we are kind of finishing up here. So that's how you graph lines from both slope-intercept as a review and point slope form. Again, we do use point slope form a lot more in Algebra 2 and geometry. So if you have any questions, please make sure they get answered, as I promise you this will not go away in future math classes. Hope you guys are having a good day and enjoy the rest of what's left. Take care.